All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to All Things Odd. I'm Dr. Natalie Phillips.
And I'm Dr. Hannah Galloway.
And we are going to be talking about New Year's resolutions today. But before we get there, we have a couple of really exciting announcements. So, with that, we are going to share our screen here. And I'm going to have Dr. Galloway just kind of remind people of our YouTube channel.
Yes, so this is our YouTube channel there. We're getting more subscribers all the time. So you can come to our YouTube channel and subscribe. I like the thumbnail images here, and I think it's a little bit easier to tell like what the show's about. So feel free to find us there and follow. And actually, if you're somebody that watches the show a lot, we would like to ask that you leave us a Google review for our business. So that's one thing we're really working on, is trying to grow our reviews. We've grown our YouTube subscribers, and that's really exciting. But we decided that maybe we should ask people that are, regular viewers to leave us a Google review as well, if the content is helpful for you.
Yeah. We also have a really cool announcement too, because I'm going to put something else up here in a second. We have now been able to, so as you know, we stream through Facebook, we stream through LinkedIn, and also we put it up on Instagram afterwards. We tried to stream locally to Instagram, but it was a little bit of a difficult thing, but there's something new, and that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. So as you share this out, whether you're sharing it on Facebook, but if you don't have people that watch on Facebook, we're also on YouTube. We have a new one. So if you are on X right here, or formerly known as Twitter, we have our X profile at Audio Center NoCo, just like our Instagram, but this is going live as well on X. And so you can now share it out on X, that platform. So we're super excited because we have our X platform, I guess, and you can be watching it there, and it might be easier to share as well. So you can now share it off of Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and later on Instagram. So we're super excited about that. Our handle names are all the same across the board, Audio Center NoCo. If you are wanting to connect with us, you see that little QR code up at the top above Dr. Galloway and me. You can also scan that with your phone, and you can add us as a contact as well. So there's lots of ways that you can contact us, give us ideas for shows, maybe add to the conversation. We've got some comments coming up. And of course, it is our dear friend Isaac who is watching. Yes, it's Thursday on a new year. Happy New Year to you, Isaac. It's great to see you. And oh yeah, he is noticing that behind us is our VeriFit as well as our irrigator. And so definitely something that we do on, we're able to perform on our patients and help with the most complete care possible. Okay, so with that, we have some great topic, thanks to our audiology resident, Mary Kate Donegan. She is setting us up with some great content. And today we're going to be talking about healthy hearing resolutions for the new year. So I'll kick it off with the very first resolution. And as you're watching, if you have New Year's resolutions or other healthy hearing resolutions, please add them in the comments, and we can get people to discuss other great hearing resolutions. Okay, so the first one is obviously get your hearing tested. I know that we talked about this at the end of the year, but again, beginning of the year, if you are looking at your health overall, a great thing to do is just get a baseline. Just get a baseline, come into an audiologist's office and figure out where you are. You could have totally normal hearing, and then you can kind of relax and sit back for the rest of the year. But every year it would be great if you do have a hearing loss to get that hearing tested. So make sure that if you are setting up for your hearing, your health screens, make sure that hearing is part of it as well, just because as you check your eyes, as you check, other health issues, we want you to be able to check your hearing. And yes, we have our audiology resident that says, wow, sounds like you have a cool student in the office. So creative. Yes. So thank you, Mary Kate, again, for coming up with some great topics for us. All right. So that's healthy resolution number one, is to get your hearing
tested. And if you're an adult, get your hearing tested before you have a problem, because if you show up and you're like, hey, I can't hear, we don't have any other information about when it started or anything. So even if you're thinking I don't have any trouble, still go get it tested so you have a nice baseline.
Yeah.
Our second one is to wear earplugs in noisy environments. We have done some previous shows about different types of earplugs and things like that. So you can go back and look at an older episode about different types of earplugs. But you can easily tell if you need to wear earplugs by downloading a sound level meter on your phone. Decibel X or Decibel Roman numeral 10 is the one that I use. And it kind of gives you a little green zone and a little red zone. If the sound level is in the red zone, it's in like the dangerous zone and you should be wearing earplugs. Sometimes when you're at an outdoor concert or something, it's hard to tell, how loud it really is. And so it just kind of gives you a better peace of mind of if you do or do not need to be wearing earplugs. And then you can look at some of those older videos for our recommendations because there are all different kinds of earplugs out there.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest questions that we get people when they come in to have their hearing tested is, how can I protect my hearing? And honestly, like that's the best resolution, or that's the best way that we tell people is whenever you're in a noisy situation where you're thinking that maybe it's hurtful, like you want to like plug up your ears, like have a set of earplugs ready to go. We can help with custom ones, or there are also foam earplugs, depending on if you're able to get them inserted correctly. I was going to say incorrectly, but inserted correctly. It's very typical that the noise reduction rating is very similar with foam earplugs versus custom, but you have to make sure that you're putting in the foam ones correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. You can also do like earmuffs. We love earmuffs because they're easy to put on your head and you can put them around your neck if you're working or, you need to talk to somebody or something like that. But yes, so number 3 is our next one, and it is to manage stress levels. A lot of these are just kind of healthy lifestyle in general recommendations, but cortisol does bad things to our body overall. And so managing your stress level the best you can is kind of one of our other recommendations.
Yeah. And especially coming from like as a tinnitus and sound sensitivity provider, stress is a huge component to increase tinnitus, as well as even some sound sensitivity. I had a sound sensitivity patient in this morning, and I basically was talking to him about, hey, after the hustle and bustle of the holidays where your body and your perception of sounds could be heightened, managing that stress level now with the breakdown of your listening environments is going to be a lot more helpful. And so if you're able to relax, if you're able to really reduce those stress levels, that's going to help with your sound sensitivity issues as well as your tinnitus as well. So we had that great conversation this morning in the office. All right. Resolution number 4.
Next one is to reduce smoking or stop smoking. We're in Colorado and I'm from Missouri originally. It's amazing to me to see how many fewer people smoke here than in Missouri. If you go to Missouri and you're outside of a restaurant or a bar, you see a lot of people smoking cigarettes. Here, we don't have as much smoking, but the reason that is on our list of resolutions is because number 1, it's not good for you. It's a carcinogen, but it can also affect the way the blood supply gets to your ears. And so it's just overall not a good, healthy choice to make. But if you are somebody that smokes, when you reduce smoking, you're actually improving blood flow to like all of your extremities. And so that can also, help you hear better. I think there's a lot of encouraging statistics. My mom smoked for a really long time, and then she had this list that was like, after 5 years, this happens. After 10 years, this happens. And I think that's been really encouraging for her to, be like, I quit smoking 5 years ago, so now my cancer risk has reduced by whatever. That's been really empowering for her, I think.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, okay. So resolution number 5 would be take listening breaks. I like this actual resolution because people don't think about this, right? And take listening breaks means that, for example, if you are somebody that spends a lot of the time on the phone and you're having an earpiece in your ear, whether it's at work or you're working at home, sometimes you don't remember to take a listening break and to have that break in that stimulation to your auditory nerve and to your auditory system too. And that will give you, again, I'm approaching it, looking at it from just tinnitus, sound sensitivity. Having those listening breaks decreases that heightened sense that you're always on, right? What are some of your takes with the listening break?
So I was thinking about, how if you're in, like, let's say you're sitting next to a fan that's running really loud, or a piece of equipment that's really loud. We sit next to our caloric machine, which is what we irrigate ears with air. And so it has this kind of like loud motor that's running. when I turn it off or when I leave the room, I kind of feel like, oh, like, wow, I didn't realize how bothersome that was. That was really stressing me out. Or, you know, if you've got the TV on in the background while you're having a conversation and then somebody finally goes and turns it off, you're like, oh, wow, that's so nice. We don't realize how much work we're doing to process all of that sound. And so if you can just kind of take some breaks or reduce, you know, if you're having a conversation, turn the TV or the radio or whatever else off so that your brain can just kind of have some more peace. I think we've all kind of felt that feeling of relief when something noisy has been turned off. And that just kind of shows how much it really does stress us out, even though we're not necessarily noticing it at the time.
Yeah. So if you're just joining in, we are talking about healthy hearing resolutions. If you have a New Year's resolution that you want to share, or if it's related to the ear or healthy hearing, please join in and put your resolution in the comments too, and we can kind of talk about it as well. All right. So resolution number 6 for healthy hearing would be proper management of chronic health issues. So this is looking at comorbidities. And for example, like we're going to talk about just diabetes. We've talked about smoking. I know that Hannah or Dr. Galloway just briefly touched upon, you know, even cancer treatments, things like that, when we manage stress levels or when you reduce your smoking. But other comorbidities, for like diabetes, for example, you know, this kind of goes back to making sure that you're checking in with your primary care physician for your overall health conditions, and just to make sure that you are keeping a good sense of just healthy well-being, I should say. And so, like, for example, with diabetes, if you are taking your medications, make sure that you are staying on top of that, because if your diabetes can get out of control, this can affect other issues in your body as well as your ear, right? And so this is just kind of taking a look at what are some of your other health issues that are going on, and are you keeping up with your physician and with monitoring that and keeping your well-being intact?
Well, and maybe too, like going back to diabetes, maybe it's not that, you know, maybe your dosage is not correct anymore. Maybe you're taking it every day, but you just haven't gone to follow up. And if they're not checking your levels and making sure that you're stable, I think a lot of diabetic patients think about their vision a lot, and they're like, oh, my eyes are blurry. I need to, you know, go back and see my doctor and make sure everything's okay. But people don't think about their hearing as much. And we had a patient just the other day say that, you know, his eyes have gotten really bad and he feels like his hearing is really bad. And we're like, you need to go back to the doctor to manage the diabetes medication, because this could be leading to, you know, more vision loss or more hearing loss. And so I think just taking care of yourself and knowing that one medication that you take might affect something else in your body. So just informing your, you know, primary care physician too about all the different things that you're taking, whether they're supplements or whatever. Just because they do all, you know, we're one body, we're one being. So we kind of, everything has to work together. But sometimes it can get a little bit disjointed because you go to one specialist for this and one specialist for this. And so just kind of making sure everybody's on the same page, or that they're, you know, checking everything.
Yep. Yep. All right. And then our last one that we had come up with is resolution number 7 is improving your communication strategies. So, you know, again, as audiologists, we connect people back to life and to their loved ones, right? And so communication strategies, when we fit a hearing aid, it's not just about the device and the amplification, but it really is going over and beyond and doing the work to repair that communication breakdown that you might have with a loved one or your spouse or your family members. And so communication strategies, like we're not going to get tired of talking about it, because there's so many things that can be involved in looking at how do you repair that communication breakdown. When you come in here, we talk about repair strategies. We talk about things that you can anticipate. So anticipatory strategies as well, depending on where your needs are. And so again, really working on communication strategies. If you need, you know, some suggestions, you know, contact us. Like I said, there's that QR code up at the top. You can put a comment in the comment on any one of the platforms that we're streaming on. And we can kind of take a look at that. If you are thinking like, what kinds of things, or I'm having this kind of problem, what can I do? You know, and there's some simple ones as maybe improving your light situation, you know. It could be something as simple as making sure that when you go to a restaurant that you're choosing a table away from the entrance or the kitchen, right? So there's little things depending on your lifestyle that we can always help you with. But this is a very good resolution, is improving the communication strategies to improve that communication breakdown.
Yep. And I like how Mary Kate worded it. It does not matter how many weeks we talk about this. Everyone can do better with their communication strategies. I find myself telling, especially married couples that have been married for a long time, what is a fair listening situation. When you were 25 years old, maybe your husband talked to you from the upstairs closet and that was fine. But now maybe that's not a fair listening situation anymore. So sometimes it's just kind of talking to people too and saying, well, it sounds like, maybe you could reduce those noise sources or do this, this, and this. And maybe it seems obvious, but it isn't to the patient,
Right.
at the time they're struggling with it. So I think that's also something that we can point out is sometimes people repeat a situation to me and I say, that's just not a fair listening situation. That's not, even someone with normal hearing can't be expected to master that information from the upstairs closet. So sometimes it's just, talking to people that you love and making sure that they understand what is kind of like a fair listening situation versus not.
Yeah. So, being as the first week in January, we encourage you to set some, not only just your New Year's resolutions, but consider your hearing resolutions as well. If you have come up with one that you love, come back and share it in the comments of the show, share it out to remind people or your loved ones that to also think about their ears and their hearing during this new year. All right. Well, we will see you next week. Same time, 12:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on a new episode of All Things Odd. So hopefully you'll tune in and share us out. Thanks, guys.
Bye.